Alright, what is up guys, that is Storm back here with another video, and in this one, I am bringing you part 30 to Mightless, a My Hero Academia story by the mysterious banana. Now if you want to check this story out for yourself, the link to it will be down in the description below. But before the video begins, if you like the content you're seeing, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I mean, they're all free, so why not? If you want some dope channel merch, link to that will be down in the description below. And if you want to see more of me, be sure to go check out my other channels and go follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which will all be linked down below. But without further ado, why don't we just dive right on in. Guys, you'll never know who I just ran into, Ochako called out, dragging Sachi into the group. Ida, who was helping his classmates pick out new running shoes, turned around, looking at the unfamiliar figure. Who's that? Everyone, this is Sachiko Tsukuyama. He's Izuku's cousin. He came all the way from Kyoto to visit, replied the young brunette. Sup, Sachi greeted. I'm guessing you must be very happy that your cousin is becoming a hero, right? Asked Ida. Oh, Izu bro? Obviously, he's the raddest 15-year-old I've ever known, I'm telling ya. He's going places, replied Sachi, trying to act natural. Oh, and there he is right now. A few feet away, the young green-haired teen ran in a sort of hurry, slowly pushing Sachi away. Listen, I know you all want to meet him and know lots about him, but we haven't seen each other in like 20 years, so we have some catching up to do. Izuku rapidly came up with an excuse. 20, aren't you 15? Asked Ida skeptically, causing Izuku to jump. It's fine, Izubru. I stuck around some more. As a traveler, it's good to interact with new people wherever you go, Sachi spoke up. But, don't worry about it, Izubro. I won't spill the beans. Just let me have some fun for once, Sachi whispered to him. While skeptical, he knew Sachi trusted him more than anyone, so it's only right for him to give Sachi a bit of trust as well. This led to him getting bombarded with questions, something expected from these students. Geez, one at a time. My quirk is in multiple heads, Sachi replied to all of the teens talking at once. What is it then? Asked Kaminari. Needler, I can shoot spikes from my fingertips, Sachi replied. As the day went on, Izuku trailed behind the group, as Sachi was getting familiar with his classmates. Eventually, they went to the top floor's food court to have lunch. While Izuku, Ida, Mina, and Kaminari went for beef katsudon, Uraraka and Sachi went for ramen, as it was cheaper. While the two were waiting in line, Sachi turned to Ochako. Still trying to save money? Was my donation not enough? Sachi asked. What? No, it was plenty. We simply used it to get ourselves a lawyer to help out on our legal troubles, Ochako replied. Who was grateful for having her family financially stable thanks to Izuku's cousin. You seem to hang around Izubro a lot. Do you like him? Asked Sachi suddenly, making her blush violently in embarrassment. What? Why would you ask me? She started to flail her arms around, making Sachi chuckle. I was just curious. I saw you ditch him while the two of you were alone, with your red face like a strawberry. I won't tell the others, so tell me. Do you like him? Asked Sachi. It's complicated. I mean, he has a girlfriend outside of school. I saw her and Izuku kiss for God's sake. And yet, I can't help but think about him when I'm alone. Thinking about how he's doing, what he's doing. I feel so weird when I'm around him. It's scary sometimes, but it's best this way. I hope his girlfriend treats him well. He always felt out of my league anyways, answered the brunette, trying to cover her face. Sachi smiled at her reaction, not a sadistic smile, more of an encouraging one. Ah, young love, I wish I knew how it felt. Listen, Urasis, you can't just give up on someone like that. You may not think of it, but you'll be the perfect girl to Izuku. All you need is one thing. One thing? Confidence. You can't just walk up to your crush all blushing and mumbling, spouting gibberish trying to flatter him. You walk up to him and take the shot. You miss and you try again. You aim, you shoot, you miss, reload, aim, shot, miss. Now I've aimed a lot in my life. And trust me, true love is the hardest bullseye you'll ever hit. But you're playing this game with a gun that uses your determination as ammo, and among the mounds of empty bullet shells, I'm still firing, trying to hit that bullseye, knowing that the day I make the shots, it'll be the best day of my life, Sachi jeered. Hearing this left Ochako speechless. She couldn't believe the sheer charisma and confidence coming from this man. It almost made her jealous. Wait, Ochako suddenly realized. Is there someone you like? Hearing this, Sachi closed his eyes and smiled. Yeah, there is. And while I haven't hit my bullseye, I haven't given up on her. We met on the job, as a matter of fact, and things just sort of carried on from there. And while I admit she can get pretty bossy and annoying sometimes, I can't help but smile when we pulled through together. She truly is the bullseye I'm aiming for, Sachi explained before suddenly jerking to his left. Something wrong? Asked Ochako. Nothing, I could have sworn she... Never mind. Little did the two know, Irina was actually there, eavesdropping on Sachi's chat, and hearing him say that made her blush deeply as tears streamed down her face. It's not like I haven't tried aiming for you, dumbass, she said to herself, crouched behind a pillar. Although I appreciate your honesty. This whole time, she saw him nothing as but another victim she'll eventually break. So, seeing him always coming back with that same smug smile on him pissed her off to no end. No matter how much she messed with him, including nearly drowning him in her cup of beer, gigantifying his head, or just stepping on him, he always came back, like nothing ever happened, not even the least bit pissed. And yet, no matter how much she rejected it, she seemed to grow fond of his friendly attitude, and found it difficult to torture him at times. Unlike anyone she had ever met, he was the only one that still treated her as a friend, as someone he would never abandon, something not even her own parents did for her. Maybe I should tell him, she asked herself, before punching the wall, leaving a small crater, and quickly walking away. No, what am I thinking? Dumbass. With everything said and done, it was finally time. The first semester was coming to a close, and summer was rolling in. The Class A students headed for the buses leaving for camp. After having a run-in with Momona from Class B, who was always quite aggressive towards Class A, calling them their rivals. On the bus, with all the students chattering, Izuku made sure no one was paying any attention to him, and called in his cell phone. Is everything ready? Asked Izuku for one last time, always double-checking before starting a mission for real. We're ready to kick ass, sir, replied Spinner on the other end of the phone. Hanging up the phone, Izuku smiled. Wow, you sure look excited, Midoriya, commented Kirishima. Of course I am, Izuku replied. This will be a camp worth remembering. The travel went smoothly for the most part, though to Aizawa it was kinda irritating trying to nap while everyone behind him was chattering like birds. Looking outside, trying to take his mind off the students, however, he noticed something odd. The same old red car, whom he noticed since the beginning of their departure due to its poor condition, was still behind them, steadily following, as if they were being tracked. Taking a closer look, Aizawa nearly jumped when he swore he saw a familiar face, but looking closer, the hair was off. Just my imagination, perhaps, he said to himself, as he felt slightly drowsy, deciding to take a nap and not think too much about it. 1 hour later, the bus came to a supposed rest stop, which was perfect for Mineta since he had to pee since the beginning of the departure. Odd thing was, there was no rest stop, nor was there anything as a matter of fact besides a railing. Looking over the vast forest and mountains, it looked like somewhere one would stop to take pictures. Hold on, where are we? Asked Ida. And where's Class B? Asked Kaminari. We stopped here for a reason, explained Aizawa. Suddenly, 2 womanly figures showed up. Rock on with these sparkling gazes, cheered one of them in a sort of introductory way. Stingingly cute and cat-like, the other one followed up before the 2 of them struck a pose reminiscent of old Super Sentai shows, aka the original Power Rangers. We're the wild pussycats, the 2 exclaimed in unison. The wild pussycats? As in that 4-man team that specializes in mountain rescue operations for 12 years? Thought Izuku as he clenched his fists. Well, shit. This whole area is our territory, explained the brown-haired catwoman. Your lodging is at the foot of that mountain over there. Some of the students, with a creeping suspicion of what was about to happen, felt uneasy. Wait, then why'd we stop halfway? Asked Ochako, out of curiosity, as Sarah seemed to be in a hurry to get back to the bus. It's around 9:30 a.m. You should make it around noon at the earliest, explained the brown-haired catwoman. Their suspicions had been confirmed. Crap, get back to the bus, the students cried, as the hero then added that those who didn't make it by 12:30 wouldn't get any lunch. The idea sounded fine in Izuku's head, considering the shit he's dug through. Going through the forest seemed like nothing more than a light jog to the supermarket. Suddenly, without warning, the ground started rising, a doing of the blonde hero's quirk. Sorry kids, explained Aizawa. The training camp has already begun. As the students tumbled down to the bottom of the forest, the kitty heroine made one last remark. This is our private territory, so feel free to use your quirks. This will be your first mission. Make it past the Beast's Forest. As the students hit the bottom, Kaminari commented on how that name sounded like something out of Dragon Quest. Mineta, on the other hand, couldn't hold it anymore and just decided to pee in the woods. However, upon reaching the first tree, the purple ball-haired midget ran into a beast straight out of a Final Fantasy game. Just then, he felt it. He once had to, now he didn't. What the hell, so this isn't just gonna be a race to the finish? I see, thought Izuku as he prepared to attack. Well, in that case, are you sure this isn't too much for them, Eraserhead? Asked the blonde cat hero. Well, it is true that this kind of training would only be given to third-year students in normal circumstances. These kids need to earn their provisional permits, which allows them to act as heroes, explained the tired-looking teacher. Villains these days are getting tougher and tougher, and us heroes now have our reputation on the line, especially after 2 major blows were struck to our organization by the League of Villains. So, even our first-year students need to know how to defend themselves. As Aizawa explained, the blondie suddenly felt her earth beasts falling one after another, as Class A's top dogs made short work of them. You can take over from here, Pixie Bob, Aizawa offered. Ooh, leave it to me. My fur is standing on end, Pixie Bob replied. Come on, Mandalay, let's go. You coming, Kota? Asked Mandalay. Ridiculous, the young boy scoffed. As the girls left, Aizawa headed back for the buses, who were going to drive him to the lodges when he noticed a white car parking nearby. As the driver exited, Aizawa lifted an eyebrow in suspicion. That's odd. I never called you over, Snipe, he called at the driver, who noticed his colleague. I never intended to, explained the gun-wielding hero. I had recently found out that one of the League of Villains' supposed top operatives had defected and was being hunted down by his former men. Thus, I was tasked with taking him under custody. However, I wanted to be discreet, so instead of organizing a giant search party, which would obviously make him hide, I decided to track him down and corner him that way. However, it just so turns out that he too was tracking someone. Hearing this, Aizawa's eyes widened. Then that must mean that the red car's driver was Shigaraki. Yes, Snipe finished. Looks like the kids are in trouble. Call the rest of the wild pussycats. Call back the students. We can't afford risking the lives of our students, Aizawa ordered. No can do. The students are far too deep into the forest for us to do anything. And the rest of the pussycats aren't ready yet, Snipe said in a sorry tone. Hearing this, Aizawa grunted. Looks like we can only leave it up to luck. While the students made their way through the forest, a wrinkled and lanky figure stood in the distance. Not yet. Still too early. I need them all to be there before I can reveal the truth to them, he said to himself. It was around 5:20 p.m., and only then did the students finally make it, all dirtied, starving, and exhausted. Needless to say, it looks like you didn't make it in time for lunch, said Pixie Bob. Make it by noon, my ass. I'm so hungry I'm gonna pass out, Sarah complained. Well, that's how fast we could have made it, replied Mandalay. Actually, we expected that it would take longer, laughed the blonde one. Looking past the 2 heroines, Izuku noticed a young kid standing behind him, with the fierce eyes that made him look like someone just taped Bakugo's face onto the kid. Hey, who's the kid in the back? Asked Izuku. Oh, Kota? He's my nephew, actually, answered Mandalay. Kota, come say hello, you'll be spending a week with these kids after all. Walking up to the students, Ida came to greet him, only to receive a kick to the tibia, mainly because he was too tall for him to punch his nuts. Still, Ida collapsed, clutching his leg. Kota, why'd you kick him in the tibia? Apologize. His aunt scolded as the kid walked away. I can't abide the jerks who want to be heroes, the kid replied in a cold tone. Hearing that and seeing his violent behavior, Izuku smiled. I like this kid already, he thought. The rest of the day went by rather quickly. After a feast, reviving their strength, they decided to loosen up, heading to the hot springs. Of course, Minato was only there for one thing, peeking on the women's side. Obviously, Ida went to stop the little perverts, which really wasn't necessary since Kota suddenly appeared, pushing Minato off. He too, however, fell after accidentally looking at the girl's side himself, but was saved at the last second by Todoroki, who acted on instinct. While Todoroki went to bring Kota back inside, Izuku left an hour early as well, as he had some other things in mind. Where are you going, Midoriya? Asked Kirishima. Oh, just going for a walk. I'll be back soon, however, so don't worry, replied Izuku. However, as he entered the lodge, making sure no one was near, a portal opened, and another him came through. His clone, if you will. I must say, Twice, you really do wonders for this league, he thanked, as he could hear Twice's flattered mumbling behind the black mask. Now, clone, you'll be taking my place for the night. I, on the other hand, will be making a last-minute rundown of Phase 1. Leave it to me, his clone said, high-fiving his original self. Walking through the portal, he landed on a cliff about 2 miles away from the lodges, where most of his squad were already present. Alright, we all set? Asked Izuku. Yup. All 18 of us are present, sir, replied Alpha, the hound leader. 18? Who's the 18th? asked Izuku. Suddenly, a massive Nomu with 4 chainsaw arms walked up to him, bowing down, as it was programmed in his subconscious. Seeing the beast right in front of him, Izuku grinned. I hope this bad boy is as strong as the one from the USJ incident, he said. Also, looking through the group, he realized Spinner was carrying a rather large, never-before-seen weapon. Spinner, what the hell is that thing in your back? Asked Izuku. Oh, this? Spinner replied, unsheathing his blade to reveal it was a greatsword made of smaller blades. This is my Buster Sword. Seeing this, Izuku facepalmed. So this is what you made with the arsenal of military-grade combat knives I provided to you. Yeah, sweet, huh? Asked Spinner. That thing looks like it's gonna fall apart any second now, Dobby laughed. Ah, Dobby, I see you're using the support gear I provided you with. Izuku took notice. Yup, these gas gauntlets are pretty cool. Actually, now I can double my fire output with half the efforts. So, when are we gonna start attacking Izu? I'm itching for a friend. I'm itching for blood. I want blood, Toga squealed. I see you're excited, Toga, but we can't attack just yet. First, I want to see what kind of opponents we'll be dealing with. The wild pussycats are no pushovers, and I have yet to determine a way to deal with them. I'll first do what I do best, and analyze. Then we attack on the second night, replied their boss. What about our opponents, besides the pussycats? Is there any others we have to worry about? Asked Sachi. Well, there is. We still have Vlad King and Eraserhead to deal with. And not to mention, it seems as though Shigaraki might be showing up as well. And finally, there's another hero joining the fray. The gun hero, Snipe, replied Izuku. Suddenly, Sachi started to twitch with anger. Snipe is here? He asked. Sounded like he could be doing all he could to hold back his anger. Yeah, is something wrong? Asked Izuku. No, it's fine. Everything's fine. Just give me a minute, Sachi replied. Walking off before the group heard a distant roar as one of the trees suddenly collapsed. Seeing this, Irina got up and decided to go check on him. Seeing this, Izuku decided it was best for him to leave. Despite his clone and him sharing the same lines of thoughts, he still couldn't trust a clone to take his place. Kurogiri warped him back to where his clone was, where he immediately took him out, right before the rest of the class came back. Back from your walk, Izuku? Asked Ida. Yeah, it was enjoyable. Back with Sachi, he continuously punched his third tree until his fist started to bleed. He was panting, dripping with sweat, and yet dramatic flashbacks kept flashing back through his eyes, fueling his anger more and more as every time he collapsed, he only got back up seconds later, his eyes bloodshot red, as he kept on thrashing and shooting his quirk until his arm was numb. Snipe, Snipe, you bastard, I'll never forgive you. Damn it, just disappear, 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 he yelled at the top of his lungs, finally crumbling down for good. Sachi, a distant voice was heard. Rina? Irina finally caught up to her partner and gasped as she saw him in that state. God damn it, why am I gasping? This is nothing new to me, so why? Her thoughts raced frantically. Why do I feel so sorry for him? Rina, you shouldn't have. It's fine, Sachi said, leaning against the stump of the tree he punched down. All that gave him was a chop to the top of the head by his partner as Irina squatted down in front of him. That's for making me run a half-mile just to catch up to you, dummy, she pouted, making Sachi chuckle lightly, knowing even when he doesn't try, he manages to mess with her somehow. Now, you're gonna tell me, what was all that about? Hearing this, Sachi decided, what the hell, he's been partners with her for nearly half a year. He could trust her. Well, it all started all the way back to when I was still Lil Sachi. 12 years ago. Dad, look, it's Snipe. He's live on the news, cheered a young 7-year-old Sachi. Oh, you must be a big fan, his father replied. Of course I am, look at him, he's so cool, always jumping into a fight without fear. I want to be like him when I grow up, he cheered. Oh really, so you want to be a pro hero? Of course, they're amazing. Have you never dreamed of beating up meanies and saving the day? Why should I dream? Asked his father. I already do such a thing for a living. Really? You're a hero, Daddy? Hearing this, the man smiled, patting Sachi's head. Yeah, I am, Sachi. Yeah, I am. But why are we poor then? Asked Sachi. Looking around, they had a pretty rundown apartment. Sachi's mother died during his birth and his father was always working. But when he came back, he made sure to dedicate all of his spare time to his son. I'm just not popular, that's all, replied his dad. But don't worry, Once my agency kicks up, I promise we'll be living like real heroes. Really? In a big house with air conditioning and hot water for 24 hours? And much, much more. Hopefully you'll have graduated by Yuuei by then. I'll be waiting to see you in action, my little hero. His father smiled. Years passed, and despite Sachi working as hard as he could, he was still picked on very often at school. At times like these, his dad would step in, splitting up the fight. Despite how tough times had gone for the young boy, his dad was still there to consolidate him, even going as far as to skipping his own job. "Dad," a 13-year-old Sachi asked one day, "I haven't seen you on the news. Why is that?" "Well, I just haven't done anything significant yet, that's all," replied his dad. "But you're a hero, and the people I save daily aren't newsworthy enough. Simple as that," replied his dad. "But don't worry, your old man hasn't given up yet. And from the looks of it, his hard work is paying off." He wasn't wrong either. They went from a small rundown apartment to a medium-sized apartment with air conditioning and a modern TV, as opposed to the previous box TV they owned, and had gotten out of flea market for only 1,500 yen. "Yeah, I guess our living space has improved," said Sachi. "Nah, I'm not talking about that," his dad said, smiling with pride. "I'm talking about you. I haven't seen you cry in a long time. But that's because I don't get picked on anymore. Isn't everything else you've done much more important? This apartment is just bought with money. But your happiness? That's something no money can buy. I made you happy. That's all a father can ask for," he smiled, hugging his son. "Thanks, Dad," Sachi cried. "You really are my hero." One day, however, things went bad. His dad called, telling him that he had extra work to do at the agency, so he might come back late. Such a thing never happened. He always made sure to come back on time. Sachi knew something was up. Looking around, he dug up his dad's notes, along with his agency's address. Getting on his bike, he took off. However, where he ended up was not where he initially had expected. An abandoned warehouse? Odd place for a hero agency. He tried opening the front door, but it was locked. So instead he snuck in by the window. Suddenly, his eyes widened as he saw what was unfolding before him. "Alright, Mr. Yuki, I'm gonna ask you this one more time. Where is my money?" A man clad in a black suit said, kneeling in front of a beaten up man who was getting held back by two men, also clad in black. To his surprise, his dad was one of the men holding him back. Around the room, these men, all clad in black uniforms, were scattered around the warehouse. "No, it can't be," Sachi said to himself. "Dad?" he called out. Before his father could react, however, the door slammed open as police flooded the room, followed by his childhood hero, Snipe. Only this time, Sachi felt something he hadn't felt for the hero. Fear. Fear that he was after his father. Soon, a shootout broke out, and his dad was in the front lines. Not wanting to see his dad get hurt, Sachi ran to him, but tripped on an empty bottle, knocking over a gas canister. Seeing the gas canister knocked over, the mob boss had the brilliant idea to light the fuse. Suddenly, a huge explosion followed by a wall of flames took out most of the cops and his own men as the boss escaped through the back door. Just then, in a semi-conscious state, he saw his father, despite his injuries, saving his fellow mobsters and police officers alike. Though most of the cops were unconscious, his dad was doing exactly what he did in his multiple lives, saving people. As most of the building was evacuated thanks to his dad, he then ran to his son, and was about to save him. Just then, Snipe woke up, and in his eyes, he saw an evil mobster approaching a young child. "Get away from the kid," Snipe yelled, as he shot Sachi's father in the back. Though he usually wouldn't shoot to kill, he had just woken up, and panicked and acted too quickly. But to Sachi, what he saw was Snipe, his childhood hero, killing his father in cold blood. The shock made him pass out. When he woke up, he was in a hospital bed. It was there where he had learned the truth. His dad was struggling economically, so he was forced to turn to making money illegally. But he was caught in a shootout between police and killed. But what he couldn't accept was how it was described to him. "You were lucky to have been saved from such an abusive family. We'll find you a new one in a few weeks. It's a miracle that Snipe saved you. You should thank him." That crossed the line. Thank him? Thank him? He killed my father. That son of a bitch, where is he? Sachi cried while thrashing around. He's acting up. Quickly, sedate him. Something was injected into Sachi as he suddenly fell back into his semi-conscious state. Just then, he heard the news on TV. Apparently, Snipe took all the credit for all the policemen and mobsters that were saved, while his father, despite being the real hero, was not even mentioned. It disgusted him. You were the real hero, Dad, so why? Why don't they talk about you? Why? Why are they calling you a villain? As the days went on, after Sachi was out of the hospital and back in school, he could hear and see the judgmental eyes of his classmates. "Take that, you fucker," some of his classmates yelled, beating up Sachi after school. "This is for being the son of a villain. He's not a villain. He's not. He's a true hero, you hear me? A better person than any of you." Those same words had come out of Sachi's mouth for more times than he could count, and yet no one listened. It was then that Sachi realized that everyone, the world even, were nothing more than puppets of society. Whatever the media said, they believed. He, who knew the truth, would be laughed at, because despite how much of a good man his father had been and what he had done, because society saw him as a villain, he would be forever a villain. Eventually, Sachi had enough. At the age of 16, he killed both of his adopted parents in a fit of rage after one of them had pissed on his father's shrine, which Sachi had made because they didn't have the decency to bury him. He had learned that society had given all of them a mask, and people will only identify you with said mask. Heroes will be seen as heroes no matter how much wrong they commit, and villains will be forever known as villains no matter how much good they commit. For the next 3 years, in order to survive, Sachi robbed, stole, and scammed to get by in life, no longer abiding to the laws society made. Then came the day where he met Izuku, a talented young kid who had saved him despite having no quirks. By then, he had given up on fighting society, knowing it was an impossible push. But seeing such a young man do the impossible, his flame of determination had been reignited. Finally came the day where he came face to face with the League of Villains. At last, Sachi thought, as he felt the mask society gave him tearing away. I found my place. Father, you will be avenged. And, well, I guess you know the rest of the story, Sachi finished. Wow, Irina uttered. I mean, wow, you really went through that much? Yeah, it's been tough, but the past is the past. I'm sorry about that little freak out of mine. Come on, Rina, let's go. We have a big mission tomorrow, he said, regaining his old cheerful tone. Wait, Irina called out, hugging him before he could get up. Let me have this first. Have what? Before Sachi could finish, Irina leaned in and kissed him. When they disconnected, both blushing, she got back up. Rina, why did you? You had to let out something. Well, so did I. You're welcome, she replied, walking away. Hearing that, Sachi let out a smile. Damn, I can never read that girl, sometimes.
I